Hello there and a warm welcome to Super Screen News at 6, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adenike Owoye Ajiboye. Former military head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar has expressed concern over the continued killings, kidnappings and cattle rustling across the country. Abubakar disclosed this at Mina Eid prayer ground on Friday after joining hundreds of Muslims as part of activities to mark the festival of Eid al-Fitr. The former leader urged Nigerians to continue to live in peace with one another for the socio-economic development of the country. And our Muslims and all citizens of Nigeria have been urged to fully imbibe the virtues of Eid al-Fitr. Clerics made the appeal in a message to Muslims present at the praying ground of An-Nur Mosque in Abuja to celebrate Salah. The period, according to them, has provided Muslims with a standard to evaluate themselves with total recompense and chart a new beginning to making lives better.
Unite the nation, regardless of personal interest, regardless of party interest. Let us have the love of this nation at heart, and whatever thing we do, let us remember that we shall all account before our Creator one day, and in some ways. The main focus is not really on who is who, but the main focus in what we are able to do to live for posterity. Because like we always remind the politicians, we did not just inherit this nation from our ancestors, we actually borrowed it from our children. Let us all be responsible custodians, regardless of our political affiliation. The main message of this year's Ramadan is for us to continue to pray for our dear nation, Nigeria, and to imbibe the spirit of Ramadan. What is the spirit of Ramadan? The spirit of sharing, the spirit of giving, the spirit of caring, and the spirit of keeping away from corruption, from whatever thing can be detriment to the growth and progress of our great nation, Nigeria. So it's a month where all hands were on deck and where we all learned that we should all work together towards the common goal of bringing benefit to humanity and keeping away from acts of destruction of all sorts, to keep away from hate speeches of all sorts, and to rally around the government of the day in supporting them to enshrine continuity of goodness and of greatness and of blessings for our great nation, Nigeria. So our message is, let all of us, let's cooperate, let's join hands together to be tolerant, to be peace-loving, and to keep away from things that Allah has forbidden us from doing.
Muslim faithfuls were also encouraged to promote the tenets of Islam by showing love and care to Muslims and non-Muslims.
The youth are the future of any nation, of any nation, and even in the Deen in Islam, we learn about the impact the youth made in transforming or changing the lives of so many, and also bringing the religion to the doorsteps of so many. My first call to all of our youth: let us wake up, let us seek for knowledge, let us be sincere, and let us be upright. Let us make sure that we are trained, or we are prepared enough for leadership when it arrives, for us to actually hold on to leadership with justice, with sincerity, and with favor. Unlike what we have today happening. And to our politicians, our call is for them to be very mindful and cautious. They are going to be called by Allah, they will return to Allah. For anyone that is unjust, for anyone that promotes injustice of any kind, they will be held accountable before Allah. So let them be mindful of their speech, let them be mindful of their actions, let them endeavor to build a nation of togetherness, of unity, and let them not use cheap points. In order to score points, let them not use religion as a means of causing disunity amongst the people. It is important that we understand the nature of our country. We are a multi-religious, right? And the main faith are Islam and Christianity. So let us make sure we don't cause any religious divide, all because we want to score cheap political points. Whoever is righteous, and whoever is upright, and whoever deserves to be a leader, Allah will make it possible.
They also called for unity and commitment by all stakeholders towards equitable social amenities across the country. And our Muslim faithful have been advised to abstain from deeds that violate divine injunctions. This advice was given by some faithfuls who gathered to offer prayers in Shokunbi praying ground in Mushin area of Lagos. The report. We sincerely apologize for the lack of audio in the report. We will bring it to you in our subsequent bulletin. And our Muslims in Nigeria have joined the rest of the world to celebrate the 2018 Eid al-Fitr. Prayers were held at the Istijabat Central Mosque in Oride, Igomu, Lagos. Olamide Onka now reports.
As Muslim faithfuls gather in their number to celebrate the Eid al-Fitr with a prayer session, they were full of joy that the 2018 Ramadan fast has finally come to an end. The prayer session, which marks the conclusion to the 29 days fasting, which started on the 17th of May, began with a lecture taken by senior cleric at the Istijabat Central Mosque in Orile Igomu, preaching oneness and love amongst Muslim and non-Muslims as others call for sustenance of unity in Nigeria. But of what significance is the Eid al-Fitr in the life of a Muslim?
As you can see, Muslims are coming from different locations to come and observe their Eid. So which today marks the end of the 29 days of fasting for Muslims. So today is not just a merriment for Muslims. Today is a kind of special day to Muslims throughout the whole world. We are here to celebrate the importance and the benefits of the 29 days. So you can see today is very important to Muslims throughout in the whole globe. Islam being a religion of a peace. So it doesn't mean that you're a member of a particular mosque before you join them in praying. Since there is no a kind of ticket they will issue before you pray. So whenever you saw a Muslim praying, so you are allowed to join them.
Ahead of 2019
that are really in Nigeria and everywhere, we pray Almighty Allah to strengthen them and be with them all.
In spite of the religious differences, it is hoped that the end of the fast signifies the start of better things to come for the country.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has assured that the July 14 governorship election in Ekiti State and the 2019 general elections will be better than the previous polls conducted by the Commission. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Rek Abdul Ghani Raji, who disclosed this, said part of what will make Ekiti gubernatorial election a huge success is the fact that Ekiti State was ranked the best state in Nigeria in terms of peaceful conduct during elections based on the outcome of the 2014 governorship election. He also said the commission may not need to deploy a large number of security personnel to polling booths in future elections if the achievements recorded by the commission in the conduct of the elections, which global community had acknowledged to be largely transparent and credible, could be maintained. Former governor of Oyo State, Rashidi Ladoja, has threatened to dump the People's Democratic Party, PDP, if impunity continues without being addressed in the party. Ladoja disclosed this to journalists shortly after he joined other fellow Muslims to observe the Eid al-Fitr prayers at his residence in Ibadan, the state capital. The former governor, while assuring residents of the state, the PDP has an array of competent governorship aspirants to take the state to the promised land. However, vowed to leave the party if what he described as impunity continues without being challenged in the party. You're still watching Super Screen News at 6. We'll take a short break here, and when we return, we'll bring you business news to stay. Women, thanks for staying with us. Now in business world, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says President Muhammadu Buhari will sign the long-delayed budget into law on Tuesday. Mohammed, who disclosed this to journalists on the sidelines of a visit to London, said the delay would have little effect on government projects. He said even when the budget expires, there are still processes, a due diligence to be done, and it takes time. You'll recall that the National Assembly passed a record 9.12 trillion naira budget for 2018 aimed at boosting growth 8 months before the country's next presidential election, but it has yet to be signed into law by President Buhari. The Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, NACC, says free trade zones are critical to boosting the country's industrialization drive. NACC President Oluwatoyin Komolafe disclosed this at the Chamber's breakfast meeting on investment opportunities in Nigeria's free zones held in Lagos. Komolafe said investors all over the world are looking for jurisdictions where they would save costs and maximize returns on investment. He said FTs offered such opportunities, having been identified as investors' haven with attractive incentives and enabling environments. And away from that, the Nigerian Senate has demanded the full audit of the 16 billion Engineer oil field variation, which was launched in 2013 with a target to commence operation in 2018. Chairman of its Committee on Local Contact, Senator Solomon Adiola, made the demands on Thursday at the National Assembly complex in Abuja.
Addressing contractors handling engineer oil field contract and NNPC representative at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Local Content, Senator Solomon Adeola, demanded full audit of $16 billion approved for the oil project. The chairman had, in its earlier report, noted that at inception, the report was estimated to cost $16 billion and had undergone several cost variations, with the first being $13.352 billion and currently at $16.352 billion, without proper record of how the huge sum had been spent.
There is need for us to carry out further investigation on Nigeria oil field project, which we have had the value for money audit. And the Senate have decided to fund that transaction by paying the consultant that will embark on this journey.
Reacting, other members of the committee emphasized the need for value for money audit as the contractors also react.
In order to make it much more efficient for Nigerians at a time like this, so that we can actually have not just value for money, but we can engage in more projects of this nature at a cost that will be beneficial to not just Nigerians, but also beneficial to the contractors. But if it is convoluted, automatically it will not be in the interest of any of the parties. And the Senate has further directed that in view of the fact that a lot of things are still shrouded in mystery, and there will not be total sincerity on the part of the contractors and subcontractors, so they need to unveil the veil of what we may call cooperation.
Samsung that came into this country without documentation, proper documentation, is a serious infraction on this country and the local content act which we have in place. That act should not be circumvented by any means whatsoever. And we're not happy about that. That is a serious issue.
I'm going to stay very short. Wanted to know that you mentioned, the distinguished chairman, that the regional project was launched with an initial budget of $16.353 billion. On that, to date, approximately $20 billion has been spent. Below $12 billion, I think that's not the exact figure. We are not going to go necessarily to the 16.343 because the objective is to finish within budget, which means either at budget or below.
For the last 6 months, we have always come here, we have always responded to your questions. So for me, I take that for granted. So I'm saying, in view of all these corporations that we have had and all that, I'm just wondering, and maybe I'm being too loud about it, I'm just wondering how and where we're headed, and also that wherever we're headed, I just hope that things will be very objective.
What is left is how the demand of the Senate would be met.
You're still watching Silver Screen News at 6. We'll take another short break here or more news after this timeout. Well, it's so glad to have you back. Now in international world, a judge in the United States has revoked the house arrest of President Donald Trump's former campaign chairman, ordering that he be held in jail while awaiting trial. Paul Manafort was ordered into custody on Friday following new obstruction of justice charges filed by Special Counsel Robert Mueller last week. Manafort is facing multiple charges of money laundering, bank fraud, and illegal lobbying. He was among the first to be indicted by Mueller, who is heading up the main investigation into alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. presidential elections. And our Ethiopia government says it will release more than 304 prisoners, including 289 convicted on terrorism charges. The move is part of a raft of reforms pledged by authorities after violent unrest broke out 3 years ago, sparked by an urban development plan for the capital. According to a statement by Ethiopia's Attorney General, those pardoned on Friday include 3 Kenyans who were released following an agreement between the two countries to strengthen bilateral relations. Saudi-aligned Yemeni military says forces from a Saudi and Emirates-led coalition have captured the airport in Yemen's port city of Hodeidah. The military said the airport has been freed from the grip of the Houthi militia and that the mining operations were ongoing. Houthi sources have not yet confirmed the loss of the airport. Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council has expressed a deep concern over the fighting, and the UN officials have warned of a risk of famine. UN Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide, Adana Deng, said the attack on Hodeidah could heighten the risk of famine. And now to sports news this evening. The Nigeria Football Supporters Club has decried the alleged lack of concern for their presence in Russia. The supporters have, however, pledged their support for the Super Eagles in the tournament, despite the NFF's alleged neglect. Some of the supporters who pleaded anonymity told journalists that NFF did not help the club secure tickets for the game against Croatia at the Kaliningrad Stadium. Reacting to this, NFSC President General Rafiu Ladipo accused NFF of a lack of respect and disregard for the club. Croatian coach Zlatko Dalic has dismissed Super Eagles winger Ahmed Musa, saying he is a bench warmer. The player left Leicester City on loan to CSKA Moscow after failing to play himself into the team. The Croatian coach also waved aside General's claim that Russian fans will back the Super Eagles because of Musa, Mikel Obi, and Brian Ido. And that's our package in Super Screen News at 6. Many thanks for watching. I'm Adenike Owoye Ajiboye. Bye for now.